What's going on, y'all? Welcome to episode 29 of Marshall Time. What's going on, bro?
Up, bro? What's going on?
Man, post Super Bowl. Now we can definitely focus on this is really when we go hard when it comes to the NBA, college hoops. The All-Star weekend is coming up for the league. But before we talk about that, we got to recap that's what we saw Sunday in Vegas. Listen, it's what we talked about, right? Like the number one reason which team got Patty? Which team got that guy at quarterback? He's the MJ of this era. Like, that's what more can you say? I kind of knew that San Francisco was in trouble because in that first half, you remember that first half, the Chiefs really weren't playing that well, right? And you're like, you would have thought that if you didn't see the score, if you just saw how the game was played, right? You would have thought that San Francisco was up by at least a couple tutties. But the fact that it was 10-3, I believe, at halftime, it was a one possession game. It was like, I don't think they took advantage of that. And we talked about this before on the show leading up to it. The margin of error against these Chiefs, against Mahomes, is slim. And what did we see? They made some mistakes. And eventually, Patrick Mahomes is going to pounce on it, right? And so what we saw in the second half is what we saw last year against our Eagles, unfortunately. And so Patrick Mahomes for me is at that point now where it's like just like Brady was, just like MJ was when it comes to the playoffs and NBA Finals where he doesn't lose. I don't care what the numbers say. I don't care what Vegas has it because the Chiefs were the underdog. As long as Patrick Mahomes is on that field, I cannot go against that, man. I mean, just what they did on that final drive on that 4th and 1, I said shotgun. And what he did to get that first down using his legs, I mean, just you could just see it unfolding. Just like last year's drive against the Eagles, how that happened toward the end. Like you can see how that final drive was going to happen. And what did we say? Like a player that you wouldn't even think of was going to make a game-changing play or game-winning play, and it was Mecole Hardman. You know what I'm saying? Somebody who we weren't even thinking about making the game-winning touchdown, or Noah Gray, and that final drive leading up to that field goal to tie the game, coming up with a huge catch. And so that's what Mahomes does. He utilizes everybody in that system. And I mean, at this point, man, like 28, three championships. You might not want to say he's the GOAT, but he's knocking on that door. You got to open it up. For me, he's the best quarterback I've seen play. Just pound for pound. Man, yeah, he's it for me.
Yeah, man. It's just first off, congratulations to the Chiefs, man. That was a great Super Bowl. Like the first half was kind of boring, but at the same time, that's real defensive football. You know what I mean? I know a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
like, it's the Super Bowl, they like to see the action, the fireworks, but it was some good defense being played. And ultimately, it came down to turnovers, man. When you get into these big Super Bowls and even conference championships where the teams are evenly matched and they're neck and neck, a that's what can change the whole course of the game. Because we saw CMC fumble early, but then Patty threw a pick himself down the line that same half. But the turning point of the game is when the 49ers had that mishap on special teams. And it's just like a big special teams play, just like last year when we played them, man. Like we had control of the game, like you know what I mean. But they had a crazy punt return with Tony to just set them up with great field position and flip momentum, man. So that's a phase of the game a lot of people look over, special teams, but that's huge, man. Like not even just the kickers, but the punters. We saw great punting action from both teams too. Like both teams were
Mm-hmm.
pinned in their own territory. Like just that was a real like nuanced football game. It's just different nuances. But I also want to give credit to Steve Spagnuolo, man. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's going to talk about Pat and Andy and Kelsey, but Spagnuolo, he deserves a lot of credit. They kept every offense they played under wraps. Like the Ravens, they kept them under wraps. The Niners, they kept them under wraps. We're talking about high powered offenses that were dominating all season. And it's like you hear that football is chess, not checkers. You saw that in that game. You know what I mean? Like Spags, he knew when to call man. He knew when to say, all right, hold on, we're going to call zone, drop back a little bit. He knew when to send a blitz. Those blitzes he sent to get the 49ers off the field in the overtime and hold them to a field goal were huge, man. Because guys were open, but when you got Chris Jones coming in hot with nobody protecting you, it's like I'm just getting rid of this ball. Brock Purdy wasn't going to make that throw under pressure. So just big kudos to him, man. He's a big game coordinator. Like I didn't even know he was a coordinator with the Giants in '07. A lot of people just know him from being the head coach of the Rams when they had Sam Bradford and them, but And we know the Giants in '07 took down one of the greatest teams ever. They just didn't win. Where did they go? 17-0, 18-0, or
Hmm.
something like that. Crazy. So just big kudos to him, man. He's a mastermind. A lot of people give Andy Reid the credit and as he deserves. But Steve Spagnuolo, like on that defensive side of the ball, he has them guys playing, man. So as far as Mahomes, though, look, man, everything's right in front of him to be, undoubtedly the GOAT. Like 3 Super Bowls at 28. He's done it with different receiver cores. He did it with a good defense. He did it with an average defense. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not much you can say. I see a lot of people trying to hang over that Tom Brady has beaten him in the Super Bowl, but I don't really look at quarterback comparisons like that because the quarterbacks are not defending each other. You know what I mean? Like Patty's going against Tom's defense, Tom's going against Patty's defense, and we saw in the Super Bowl the Chiefs' O line, they were banged up. And the Buccaneers had a good defense, a good pass rush. They were getting after them all game. It really wasn't much he could do. And that's not to, say that he is better than Tom or he's not better than Tom. I just don't like that I don't like when that is used in the convo because I could go ahead and say Eli Manning beat Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. What are we going to say about that? Nick
Nick
Foles
Foles beat him too.
beat him too. What are we going to say about? You know what I mean? So I don't look at it
Yeah.
like that. But hey, the ring combo is a serious thing. We'll see if he catches him. He, like I said, he has 3 at 28, so he's right. He's almost halfway there. Basically, he just has to keep playing, stay healthy. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to the GOAT conversation, at this point, the only thing that Brady has over Mahomes is time in championships, right? Mahomes, we have to let it play out. That's why it's kind of these conversations are all hypothetical anyway. But as far as, and this is, I have the GOAT conversation when it comes to MJ versus LeBron. Whoever you pick, you're not wrong. Like there are arguments for each case, but I side with one over the other because when I'm watching both play, if you had to pick which one, who would you rather pay to see? I'm picking a guy whose shoes are still selling out. I'm picking a guy that iconic foul line dunk, like these moments that I still recall. You know what I mean? Like that's the greatness. They're both great. They both are champions. They both resume is just crazy. But as far as the best in my eyes that I've seen actually play the game, man, what Mahomes has done at the quarterback position, the things that he's been able to do, some of these throws that he's making, it's not normal. And now we see these quarterbacks coming up, like how Steph Curry is influencing guys now when it comes to guys coming up after him in the NBA and the league. You can see Mahomes sort of influencing how quarterbacks play the game and how trainers and how coaches coach the game and how they're looking. I mean, I think that's why Zach Wilson was praised so much out of college, right? Because some of the throws he was making in college at BYU, right? And so I think now Mahomes is sort of changing what's possible for the quarterback position now, how teams are maybe trying to analyze and scout these guys coming up, right? Like running this way and making throws that, just these craziness things that Aaron Rodgers has done as well, but Patrick Mahomes has honestly taken to a whole nother level. And so I feel like he's sort of he's changing the prototype of a quarterback right now. And honestly, it can't be duplicated. Like he's really one of one. Like they always tried to find the next Mike. How many next Mikes were there? And there's only one. Kobe came close. You know what I mean? And Mahomes is the same way. Like people are trying to look for that guy because at the end of the day, if you don't have that guy at QB, you have no chance. Like
Right.
you can have the Deebo Samuels, the Christian McCaffreys, the Fred Warners on defense, the Bosas. If you don't have that guy at quarterback, and this is not a shot at Brock Purdy. It just is what it is. I mean, Lamar Jackson is great. Joe Burrow is great. Josh Allen is great. But there's one guy on top of that mountain who can say that he's a champion out of all of them. You know what I mean? And so they got to deal with him. And I want to give a kudos to Andy Reid. I mean, if you really look at his resume, people will say, well, he didn't get it done in Philly. But 4 straight conference championship games is not easy. Actually made a Super Bowl. He lost to the Patriots at the height of what the Patriots were during that time. And what he's done in Kansas City, he won with Alex Smith too. Let's not get it twisted. Alex Smith was a guy who, coming out of college, a lot of hype, but Andy Reid really did a good job with him, right? I saw Andy Reid coach up A.J. Philly and Coy Detmer in Philly. Like, I can make this statement confidently. He's the greatest offensive-minded head coach ever in the league. Like, As far as the quarterback position, I mean, he's worked miracles. From the Michael Vicks to the AJ Feelys to the Corey Detmers, Kevin Cobbs, Alex Smith, Patrick Mahomes. I think Patrick Mahomes is like Donovan McNabb, of course, but Patrick Mahomes is like his life work has led up to this particular talent, and it's cool to see. And I hope he don't. Honestly, I want to see him go for another few years. I want to see how far they can take it. I want him to try to break Belichick's record for championships. Let's have a conversation, because honestly, the only just like Brady with Mahomes, to me, the only thing Belichick has on Reed right now is the championships, right? So let's have a conversation. Let's see if they can win a few more. Who knows? Will they three-peat? I really don't know. You got a whole offseason. You got a draft. You got free agency. I don't know. I don't even like that conversation right now, because so much can change. You know what I mean? So much can change. We don't know. Chris Jones is, Jerry Sneed is a free agent, I believe. Like they got to pay some people. They got to make some decisions, and there's drafting, there's free agency. Teams will get better. Some teams will fall off, and so we'll see. But as of right now, for the next few years, they got Patrick Mahomes. They got a chance. To me, I'm not going to say they'll three-peat, but I will say they're going to run that AFC West. That's theirs. And I can pencil them in AFC Championship game. Like, I'm confident in that. Like, I think
they're
I've seen
definitely
enough.
at that point to where you can't count them out.
So,
and three-peating in football is crazy. Even in basketball is crazy, but football, it's like really crazy. So, I mean, if they do that, I don't know what you can. I don't know what else we can say, man. Like, I don't know. That 3P is rough. That's rough, man. That's a serious situation right there. But like you said, it's a lot to be determined. We'll see how it really pans out. But they're just at the point where you can't count them out. Just how Tom Brady and the Patriots and Bill were for years. You just can't count them out. That's where they're at right now.
Great game too. Just to a game winner in the Super Bowl, like overtime. Man, that was epic, man. So job well done. Everything was, man, from the halftime show. That was dope. Usher did his thing. The game winner, man. It was a memorable Super Bowl. I will say that. And those are those moments, once again, Mahomes has on his resume now. Like, I have a game-winning drive in the Super Bowl. How many quarterbacks? There's a select few who have that on their belt. So, shout outs to that. All right. I think now the NBA takes center stage. Now the NFL is over. We're about to reach the halfway point. The All-Star weekend is coming up this weekend, starting Friday night. Before we talk about the All-Star weekend, sort of at this first half mark, what's something that's stood out to you, or something you're looking forward to?
Man, OKC, man. Speaking of them, I believe they're playing the Magic. They're up right now on the Magic on the road. Shout out to the Magic too. It's their first national televised game in his career. So shout out to him for getting on TNT, man. He's turned them up. Him and Franz Wagner and those guys. Shout out to them. But more so the Thunder, man. Like, that team is just fun to watch. Like, they play D, they play together, they get out and run. SGA is a bucket. Jalen Williams is a bucket. Chet is a good rookie. Dort is still playing defense. It's just good to see. And I really want to see how far they can take it, man. Like, I could see them going to the conference finals. It wouldn't surprise me. Like, I know these guys are young, and I know what everybody's going to say experience, but when you look at this West, we've talked about it before, it's no clear-cut favorite. It's no clear-cut juggernaut that's like, oh, these guys don't have the experience to get through these guys. You know what I mean? Like, and SGA's game is just so perfect for the playoffs. The way he plays is so perfect for the playoffs. And these guys just have fun playing together. I really want to see how far they can take it, man. They're the second seed right now. They're behind Minnesota. But I think they've played Minnesota twice. They either split or they played them 3 times, and they beat them twice and lost once. So I'm just looking forward to see what they're going to do. And I'll give a shout out to the Mavs too, man. Like, I don't know how far they're going to take it, but like, I remember me and you before the season started, we were like, I don't know, but they're getting
that was pre-deadline moves.
Some dubs, man. And Kyrie and Luka, they're making it work. And then they added more athleticism, after the deadline. Like I said, I don't know how far they'll take it, but with that firepower and the additions they made, it's going to be interesting to see. I'm still want to see what the Clippers going to do. Kawhi's my boy, and they're on a roll. Shout out to them too. But they got to stay healthy, and they got to redeem some of the past mistakes that they've had in the playoffs. But I'm just looking forward to it all. The West is really exciting me. The East, I'm just like, whatever. We'll see. I mean, but I will say though, the Knicks, that's a team that I'm heavy on, man. It wouldn't surprise me if they go
Mhm.
to the conference either. Like Dante is balling. Shout out 302. Dante DiVincenzo is having a great season. Had a
Yeah,
great
yeah, yeah, yeah.
he's had a
Sally's
great past
legend right
month,
there.
man. It's like you see what opportunity and playing with guys that you have a relationship and chemistry with does for you. Like he's playing with guys from Villanova.
Hmm.
He's getting the opportunity to get shots, and it's fun to watch. And I talked about how I wanted the Sixers to get OG Anunoby. This is why. That's a move that really turned them up. And I wish we could have got him. But shout out Buddy Hill. That was a good move for us too. But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, the Western Conference, I mean, has a lot of storylines. I mean, look at it. Denver's in fourth right now. You know, I still think Denver's the team to beat. They're the champions. I give them credit for that, but they have that. They have the Joker, and when they're locked in, when they're engaged, playoff time, they've been through it. They have that experience. That's important. Like for me, if I've seen you actually make that journey and take that path, I give you a lot of credit come playoff time. Like I gotta for a lot of these teams, I gotta see it. I gotta see it because come playoff time, we've seen this. We've seen some of these young teams, some players. The lights are different. I'm telling you, like some teams, some players step up, and some just Miami Heat. That's a team. They got a bunch of guys who you don't when it matters. Jimmy Butler, regular season, he's chilling, he's low, but come playoff time, he's one of those guys you do not want to be in a battle with come fourth quarter time. You know what I mean? And so I still got to give respect to Denver, but the Western Conference to me is like OKC. I've been big on them since late last season, but what they've done, you know, is a shock to everybody. But if you've been paying attention, they've been building up to this point. They're a team that the way they're built is to me should be the prototype for every team in the league as far as having guys who can defend, guys who can shoot, guys who can handle, guys who can pass. They just got guys who can do multiple things. Isaiah Joe is more than a shooter. I wish he was able to show that in Philly, but that's a whole other story. Um, SGA, Jalen Williams, Lou Dort, as you mentioned, Chet Holmgren. I mean, they got guys that know their role, they play their role, and they seem like they have fun playing with each other. And so, to me, this is a team that's just scratching the surface. I mean, who knows what they're going to be in a few years? What other moves they can make? Sam Presti, he knows what he's doing when it comes to building a team and a culture of winning and development. OKC is going to be good. I'm excited to see what they do. Minnesota, number one in the Western Conference. I got to give credit to what they've done. Anthony Edwards, I want to see what he does come playoff time. I want to see this is his team. He's the franchise guy. In these moments, your number one seed in the Western Conference, to me, the expectations would be Western Conference Finals then, right? Like, no excuses. You're Anthony Edwards, an all-star, own shoe deal, number one in the Western Conference. If you maintain that throughout the season, you got to show up. And that's what I want to see. I want to see if Anthony Edwards elevates his game and elevates his teammates' games in the playoffs. We'll see. I know the knock on them is Rudy Gobert come playoff time. How does that work out? Karl-Anthony Towns. Those two have to step up too. They cannot fall back because the slander is going to be waiting for them. And so I want to see how Anthony Edwards responds come playoff time. The Clippers are interesting because as long as Kawhi Leonard is healthy and locked in, I trust that team. If Kawhi isn't there, if he's not healthy, I don't trust it. PG, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, they're in their perfect roles right now with Kawhi being engaged. I keep telling people 2019 Kawhi is one of the best players I've seen. Like he was just scary to play against. Like every shot I felt like was going in. And I'm seeing some of that this year for the Clippers, and that's why they're so formidable right now. Also, I mean, look, Phoenix, it's interesting. Like, you got KD, Book, and Bill. I mean, they're in the sixth spot right now. But they're there. That's something you got to deal with. That's not going to be an easy task either. And so for me, the Western Conference is like, you got the newcomers versus like those vets, the guys who have actually won championships before, LeBron, AD, KD, still trying to see if they can have one last run. Steph Golden State, right? Clay and Dre. Like, to me, that's the interesting part. The play-in, I think, is going to be crazy. Because right now, if it starts, it's Sacramento, Dallas, Lakers, and Golden State. And honestly, I don't see Minnesota's not falling out. OKC, Clippers, Denver, New Orleans. I don't see Phoenix falling. I think that top six is the top six. Personally, I think that's going to remain. Like who in that top six do you see falling out?
Nobody. Yeah,
If New Orleans stays healthy, that's if New
That's
Orleans
the-
isn't healthy, then maybe Sacramento can sneak in there. Maybe.
Sacramento is
Or Dallas, too.
this year. I thought they was going to take a step forward.
That's a classic case of a team that surprised people, and then you got to follow. How do you follow that up? You know what I mean? You got to raise the expectations. You aren't sneaking up on anybody anymore. How do you take it to that next level? Because other teams are going to get better too. OKC, Minnesota, Sacramento sort of fell back, but Dallas, I like what they did at the deadline. I was not a believer in Grant Williams. I just didn't see what was so special about that signing, and they figured it out quickly too. And lo and behold, PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, two great pickups, and so I'm excited to see what happens with that. But if you got LA, Golden State, Dallas, and Sacramento on the play-in, to me, that's man. Whew. Do the Lakers want to see Luka and Kyrie in a play-in situation?
One game.
I don't know.
Before one game.
I don't know. One game. I mean, they got Daniel Gafford, Derek. They got a couple big guys too that can just, cause issues. PJ Washington, Tim Hardaway Jr. Lakers got Spencer Dinwiddie. He gave Dallas a soundbite. I don't know if you heard it. He gave Dallas a little some bulletin board material. So I want to see Dallas, LA, in the play-in personally. Just as a fan, I want to see that. Eastern Conference, to me, it's all about Joel Embiid. That's the biggest story for me. Second half, like if he doesn't come back, then it's over, right? I mean, it's just Buddy Hield pickup was great, but I'm gonna just enjoy Tyrese Maxey and Ricky Council and Traquavion Smith just get their games off. If Joel's not, and if he does come back, how effective is he going to be? That's to me that's what I want to see. So that's my storyline, because if Joel Embiid comes back 80% to this roster, now we talking. Now I'm thinking Eastern Conference Finals. We'll see if Boston, Milwaukee, that's a whole other situation. But to me, that would be their ceiling and possibly NBA Finals. But if Joel's not back, it don't even matter. Like, it really doesn't. So we'll see. Now, All-Star Weekend, to me, the biggest thing that stands out to me is the dunk contest. It kind of felt weird to me this year, even the past couple years, because growing up watching the NBA, when you felt the All-Star Weekend approaching, you sort of thought about in your head, okay, who could be in a dunk contest this year? Like, you would just have your thoughts. And this year, I had no idea. Like, I really didn't have, because you can already count out Zion's not going to be in it. Obviously, Ja's hurt; he's not going to be in it. And you're just thinking, like, who are the big names that you would expect? Aaron Gordon, Levine, they're past that stage. Like, those days are gone. You start thinking like Obi Toppin. Obviously, Mac McClung won it last year, so he's going to try to defend it. So it's like it's just a weird. The dunk contest is in a weird state. So the participants this year, Jaylen Brown shocked me. I wasn't expecting that one. That was a shock. But kudos to an All-Star, the highest paid player in NBA history, by the way, if you didn't know. He signed his big deal last year. He's in the dunk contest. Jaime Jaquez was a shock. I didn't see that coming. Even though if you check YouTube, he was in a dunk contest with KJ Martin, Drake London. It was crazy. You got to watch it. Mac McClung, Sixers legend, and Jacob Toppin, the brother of Obi Toppin, who won the contest, I think, a couple of years ago. So first off, your thoughts on this field, and we'll go with our picks first too. Who you got? How you feel about the field?
You said Jaylen Brown, Jaime Jaquez. Okay,
Mac McClung and Jacob Toppin. So they got two G Leaguers. I'm gonna tell you now, I'm going with a G Leaguer. I think Jacob Toppin's gonna win. Whatever.
To speak about the nostalgia of the All-Star Weekend, I remember vividly you would record the All-Star Weekend on VHS. On VHS, VCR. And we would watch them, you know what I mean? Like, we rewatch it.
You would rewatch it.
So all this technology we got
this
today,
was pre-YouTube.
DVR, streaming, I'm not going on my way to do that, even though it's with a click of a button. And that just speaks to how watered down the All-Star Weekend is now. And honestly, man, it's just like it's so many names I could say when I think who should be in the dunk contest. Like Jalen Green. But even
But you know
Jalen Green's not no
yeah.
crazy star. Like he's a solid young player, but bro, you're not too big to do the dunk. First of all, nobody should be too big to do the dunk contest. The dunk contest should be a thing like Jordan and them did it. Kobe, Dr. J, Dominique.
It used to be like
You
a
know what
rites
I
of
mean? It's like,
passage.
yeah, you should be proud to do
Mm.
the dunk contest. I watched Jalen Green do something crazy in game the other day. And he's been doing crazy dunks since he was in high school, right? We know Bron's not doing it no more, but back in the
Mm.
day, Bron should have been did it. Like, what is going on? Um, ja, matter of fact, I remember Zion before he even got to the league. He said that he would never do the dunk contest, and his reason was so stupid. It was like he said because I don't want that to be my reputation or something. And it's like, bro, you literally got noticed because you're big and you can dunk like a shorter person. Like you fly out the gym, but you're big. Like your dunking is the reason why you got on. Like, what do you mean you don't want that to be your reputation? That was just crazy to me. But man, I don't know. Like I don't when I hear Jalen Brown, I don't think dunk contest. Hami Hardquez, I definitely don't think dunk contest. Even though I know people say he got sneaky bounce, that's cool. There's a lot of players with sneaky bounce. I saw Patrick Beverly with sneaky bounce in a warm up this year. Like they're NBA athletes. A lot of people are going to have sneaky bounce, but I want to hear, oh yeah, he in the dunk
Mm.
contest is going to be lit. I'm not saying that with these guys, so it'll probably be Mac McClung again, honestly, because he's been there before. He killed it last year. Why not kill it again? But
Mm.
I'm more excited for the 3 point contest. Isn't aren't Steph and what's the WNBA player? He's going. Aren't they having a shootout?
Sabrina Ionescu. They're having a shootout, but there's a
I might
separate.
be
Yeah,
more
that's a
excited.
separate
I
thing
might
from the
be more
3 point
excited for that than
contest.
this.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. Listen, man, it's Jalen Brown is a power dunker to me. Like he's athletic, but I don't see the creativity aspect to it. I don't see Jalen Brown or Jaime Jaquez doing something that we've never seen before, or something that's like different. Mac McClung, we've seen it, and he has that. He probably still has dunks in the tuck that he didn't show last year. Jacob Toppin, the brother of Obi Toppin. I feel like I've seen some of his stuff. I YouTube the stuff at Kentucky in the G League. He might have some things up his sleeve. He did something nice at Kentucky's Midnight Madness, I believe. He did a really dope dunk, like a 360 reverse between the leg. Like, so he has that mind and he has that ability to do some things. So one of the G Leaguers are doing it. I will, obviously Matt McClung is the champion. I would love to see Jacob Toppin do it. I think he'll do it. But to me, man, it's just like I said. You mentioned Jalen Green, but it's like in my mind, I already know he's not going to do it. Because I think every player coming up now, they're not trying to be in the dunk contest. Like they're just not. Like when I was in high school and middle school, I think the game's best dunkers and slash best players, that was an expectation. Like when the dunk contest came back, that was huge. Like I still remember that dunk contest with Vince, Tracy McGrady, Steve Francis. Let me read. Hold on. Let me read
oh
this
my god,
field because I don't think y'all understand. And
Steve
it might be something
Francis
before some of
had
y'all's
bunnies out the
times.
gym, and he was a star.
It was the 2000 field.
Was Jason
Hold on, I'm
Richardson
pulling
in
it up
that one
now.
too?
You can still see me. Nah, he was a couple years later, but Jason Richardson was a legend.
Yeah, I see.
You can still see me, right? Hold on. So here was the 1999-2000 dunk contest, right? Vince Carter, Ricky Davis, legend by the way. Look him up. Steve Francis, Larry Hughes played for the Sixers. He had a hilarious dunk contest. Actually, you got to YouTube it. Tracy McGrady and Jerry Stackhouse. I mean, to me, as far as at that time, you got to understand what T Mac was and Vince was at that time. And Steve Francis. Like people forget. Like from that era, the Baron Davis, Steve Francis of the world, like those guys were special. And so you don't get that excitement. You don't get those big names anymore. And honestly, I mean, the conversation can go many ways. The interest isn't there when it comes to the top stars because It was one year LeBron, I don't know if you remember this. It was at an All-Star weekend, and LeBron said he was going to enter the dunk contest. It might have been 09, 2010 when he said it, but he said, I'm going to enter in the dunk contest. A year later, he wasn't there. And so at this point, coming up as a hooper now, I don't think they actually look at the dunk contest as sort of like a badge of honor anymore. I think they see it as like a spotlight for the lesser known players. And at this point, I don't even think guys are even trying to create new ways to dunk, because the feeling is like, what more can we do? I feel like Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine broke the dunk contest. Like after you see what LaVine and Gordon did, it's like, what do we even do? I mean, Aaron Gordon is just hopping over mascots. You know what I'm saying? Like with his legs all the way up. It's just, and so now, I'm not sure what you see now, but coming up when I was playing, the big thing was before practice or after practice or just out messing around trying to dunk. Now, I don't know if there's excitement now about trying to dunk. I think more is like, how far can you shoot it, right? I think it's more of trying to be like Steph and Trey and trying to show off your bag, right? Like I think now watching the game, I think the dunk, there are still special in-game dunks and it's still a moment, but I think now, which I can appreciate, I think now a player showing off his bag is the thing now. And having that bag, like an SGA, you know what I mean? Like having that to your game is, when we're watching these games now, that's the thing now. It's no longer, who's jumping the highest. You know what I mean? Like it's because at this point I feel like we've seen it all. And so to me, it would take a special player and a special talent to really revive. Sort of like what Vince did. I wish we would have saw 2 Vince Carter dunk contests. But what he did that year in Oakland was enough. You know what I mean? So I think it's going to take like a Zion type or a Ja type or a LeBron type to revive the dunk contest. Because even if you're not the most creative dunker, at least you're a big name. I remember LeBron being in the McDonald's All-American dunk contest. He didn't do anything spectacular, but just his name, you were excited to see it. And just his sheer force and athleticism, how high he got up, is special. Like if Zion and Ja entered, if you get Zion, Ja, Jalen Green, and whoever else, you know what I'm saying? Derek Jones. Like, that's a field I'm really trying to see, all right, who's doing what? You know what I mean? And so, to me, I think it's just a shift in where the game is now, the culture of the game, too. I think I don't know if young players are trying to care about dunking now more so than trying to get that bag. I just don't, as far as creativity with
you
with
made
the ball.
some valid points, but to me, it's just like, I don't know. I feel like it's a mix of everything. I also feel like it's a sense of players are too like, they're too worried about what people think or what people would say. Like, let's say LeBron did go do a dunk contest and his dunks, we know he's a great dunker, but let's say he didn't do anything too creative and people are like, that was whatever. Is somebody like him too worried about what the social media reaction would be? But to me, that's dumb. Like, it's the dunk contest at the end of the day. It's not going to ruin your legacy. Nobody's going to say, oh, LeBron isn't a great player because his dunk contest wasn't that hot. You know what I mean? And then another thing for me, it's like, I feel like the NBA went wrong when they started they started letting players try to vouch for themselves to be in the dunk contest. Like, I know where we went wrong. Jeremy Evans from the Utah Jazz, they said he sent in a highlight tape of him dunking to get into the dunk contest. That shouldn't be like a charity case. You put who you think would be interested in dunkers, and even if they embarrassed themselves, like I remember when Birdman was in it on the Nuggets, he embarrassed himself, but that was funny. Like that was comedic relief. Like, you know what I mean? I'll go back and look at that and laugh. Like it's better than just seeing somebody do it between the legs, and it's like, okay, cool. So I don't know. I just don't know what to do.
Listen, there's been some crazy moments. Who was it? Was it John Collins who put like the cape on and like jumped over like a small? It was somebody blew out a candle.
Gerald Green?
it Gerald Green could get up. Gerald Green could get up. That one was just that was hilarious. But like, man, Jason
Right.
Richardson is an icon because of the dunk contest. Like, I just I don't see it changing unless because even coming up, like I don't look at the prospects in this year's draft. Nobody's really like I don't see that type of like okay they got some things in their dunking bag. I just don't see it. You know what I mean? And so the best players who would be in the dunk contest were noted dunkers. MJ, Dominique, Vince. You know what I'm saying? Like Tracy McGrady, Steve Francis. The best players today, you can even put Ant Man
How
in
was it
there.
get him
Like I
on
would love
there?
to see Ant Man in the dunk contest. Yeah, Ant gets up, but once again, like I said, these guys, if you're of a certain age, you didn't come up with the biggest stars being in a dunk contest. Like LeBron didn't even want to do it. You know what I mean? Like so, you don't have these images in your head. Like the images of Dominique and MJ going at it in the dunk contest is stuck in my head. The image of Vince, hand, arm in the rim, is stuck in my head. You know what I mean? And so I just think that overall there's a general lack of interest, honestly. And like I said, it'll take a big name to finally step in and say, okay. And Jaylen Brown's an all-star, but he's not
Yeah.
like a household name. You know what I mean? Like it's going to take an Anthony Edwards. It's going to take a Zion or a Ja. Those are the three guys I look at. They're young. They're household names. Like they're marquee. Like they got their own shoes. Like they got the kids' attentions. And it's dope that they're in smaller markets too. You know what I mean? And so those would be the three guys that I look at right now that could change it. But at this point, they're so deep into their careers, I really don't see it happening. Um, it's a shame, but hey, look, we'll see. You never know. Mac McClung and Jacob Toppin might show us some things. I'm still going to watch as a fan of basketball. You always want to watch and see if who can come up with something. And so I'll still watch, but the energy just isn't there compared to past years. 3-point shootout: Malik Beasley, Jaylen Brown, Therese Halliburton, Dame Lillard, Laurie Markkinen, Donovan Mitchell, Karl Anthony Towns, Trae Young. I wanted Sam Merrill to get in there. Sam Merrill for the Cavs been lighting it up. He's a great shooter, one of the best in the league, but didn't make the field. I'm a pick. You know what? The Cat won it last year. Was it Cat? Yeah, Cat won it 1 year. I'm not sure if it was
I
last
think
year or
he
not.
did.
Hold on. Let me see. Oh, it was Dame last year and then Cat the previous year. Okay. I'm gonna go. Shout out to Lloyd Marketing, by the way. I'm gonna go with Trae Young. I think Trae got a point to prove. You know what I mean? I think he's tired of all the nonsense and the talk about what's going on with him in Atlanta. I think he wants to show out on All-Star Weekend and take home
Yeah.
the three-point shootout. I'm gonna go with Trae. I'm gonna go with Ice Trae.
I could see Trey winning it. Oh, but you know what? I'm going with my boy Maxie, man. He got the
Yeah,
chip on his shoulder. He got a chip on his shoulder. They can't. They said.
Maxi.
I remember he had a quote. He was like, "It's funny when I came into the league, people said I wouldn't be too good because of my shooting. Now I'm in a 3-point contest. So let's go and show him what's really going on." That's my boy, number 0. Let's go.
I forgot he was. I didn't. The list I saw
He's in
didn't
the
have him
3-point
on there.
contest.
Hold on. The list I just pulled up, he ain't on there, bro. He's in the
Maxi's in the
skills
3-point
challenge.
too, though. He's not in the 3-point. I could have sworn he had it too.
Nah, I'm on NBA.com. It says Malik Beasley, Jalen Brunson, Therese Halliburton, Dame Lillard, Laurie Markkinen, Mitchell, Towns, and Young. And Maxi's in the skills challenge.
Okay. Hold on.
I thought I
gotta
saw
look this
something
up
too about
on.
Maxi being, but I don't. I'm
Hold
on
on.
NBA. I'm on
'Cause he had
NBA.com.
that quote, bro.
He's in this.
Hold on.
Maybe he was talking about the
Yeah,
skills challenge because you still got to shoot too.
he is in this skills. Okay, he's not in there. I could have swore they said he was in there.
I thought I saw something too about that. So you ain't tripping, but it must have been talking about being in the skills con. Yeah. So the skills challenge, you got Team Pacers, Halliburton, Benedict Mathurin, Miles Turner, Team Top Picks, Paula Banchero, Anthony Edwards, Vic Wembanyama, and Team All Stars, Scotty Barnes, Maxey, and Trey Young. Who you got winning the skills? The skills challenge is interesting because you gotta be able to pass, gotta be able to be, quick, handle, layup, jumpers. You gotta show it all. I don't know about Team Top Picks with Banchero, Edwards, and Wembanyama. You know what?
Yeah.
I mean, Team Top Picks could do it.
I'm looking at it now.
But Team All Stars got that speed.
Like,
Team All Stars got that speed with Maxey and Trey.
All Stars gonna do it.
Like, they got that speed. But having Maxey and Ice Trey with that speed, Scotty Barnes got to hit that jumper. Yeah. He got to hit the jumper. Team Pacers is solid, but Benedict Mathurin, I'm not sure. All-Star lights, All-Star weekend lights. We'll see how you handle that. I'm going to go with Team All-Stars to win the skills challenge. That's what I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick Team All-Stars. Then in the shootout, I got Trey Young. Steph Curry versus Sabrina Ionescu is going to be dope. Always want to see, two of the best players go head-to-head. In that shootout, that'll be dope. Dunk contest. I know Mac McClung won it last year. I'm going to just go with Jacob Toppin. We're going to go G League back-to-back. That's what we're going to do. Jacob Toppin. Get it done.
What, for the dunk contest?
MVP. Yeah. I got Toppin. I got Toppin.
This 3-point contest is tough. Man, I'm going with Cat. I'm going with.
There's some guys that could do it. Going with Cat?
Let's go Malik Beasley, man. He's been hooping this year. It's going to be somebody. Yeah.
Malik Beasley?
Yeah, Malik Beasley.
Hey. Shout out to Therese Halliburton. He might show off that form and get going on the home floor. You know what I mean? Let me see. Who do you think is going for the All-Star MVP?
SGA or Luka. SGA going. He going to win.
Think so?
Yeah. Yeah.
Think so? I'm looking at the roster right now. How many times has LeBron won the MVP? What's the record? Does he have the record? I'm doing some research. Record for most All-Star game. Hold on. Who has the most All-Star? Does LeBron have the most All-Star MVPs?
LeBron, he might.
Okay, so this is okay. According to this list, Kobe and Bob Pettit are tied at 4. LeBron is tied with MJ, Shaq, and Oscar Robertson with 3. So that right there, I know LeBron's aware of like resumes and records and history of the game. Because of that, man, I think LeBron might try to go for it again.
I can
tie for the all-time record.
And he's gonna be down to the. But
and
I don't
also,
think LeBron cares enough no more.
I don't know. He might. Also, I think Ant-Man. I think if we take away LeBron out of the picture, I think Anthony Edwards. Yeah, I feel like you got to think about the style of play too in the all-star environment, how it is. I think Ant can get off like above the rim, get some shots off. I think Ant-Man might go for it too. So no love for the Eastern Conference.
I'm cool with the Eastern Conference team.
Let's go, Maxey.
I can't.
Rep. There's nobody on there that will win. Maybe I think Tatum went off last. Tatum had a really good game last year. But yeah, I think the energy is shifting for him to have a big night. Minnesota's having a great year. I think this would be a perfect time for him to win the All-Star Game MVP. Start putting people on notice heading into the second half of the season. So we're gonna see. Look, enjoy the dunk contest, y'all. Jaylen Brown, Jaime Jaquez, Mac McClung, Jacob Toppin. We're gonna see what. I'm interested to see what Jaylen Brown does. I really am, because he's had some great in-game dunks, but the dunk contest thing is totally it's creativity. It's not about who you dunking on. It's about what you can do. Just you in the hoop, the lights on you. And I think he might use Jason. If he uses a teammate, it's probably going to be Tatum. These guys never use the best passers. You know what I mean? We'll see. I'm excited to see Jaime Jaquez too. I don't know. He might pull off something crazy. I saw that high school contest. He jumped over a couple people in that contest, so I don't know. That was a few years ago. So I'm excited to see. I don't know. I'm gonna still watch though. But yeah, we're gonna see. So this time next week, we'll pretty much look at the second half of the season. It's gonna be fun. Make sure to watch us on YouTube, on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts. We're gonna check with
on Spotify.
We're on Spotify now too. We're live on Spotify now. We're getting it all together, getting all the platforms right, and of course YouTube. Like us on Twitter and all that good stuff. Like us, subscribe on YouTube. Thank you guys for watching.
Peace out.
We'll talk to y'all next week.